Welcome back to the studio. My name is Jaco. Behind the camera, as per usual, is Damia. We're going to show you what we've done this week. There's one of the jobs as they're coming through. We grab it, we film it, and we share it with the world. This week's video, we have an actual horseshoe pendant. We're going to be setting a stone that the customer provided. I know that the stone is incredibly sentimental. It's coming out of an older pendant which they weren't happy with, and we're going to mount it in a horseshoe pendant, and I'm going to put some diamonds around there. It's a simple thing to think about, just a U shape. So we're going to give it some dimension. We're going to give it a gallery. Enough talking, let me show you exactly what I've done and how it looks afterwards. Stay tuned. Before I even started, let me explain design. The design is something that I start off by presenting to the customer, but at the same time it also helps me. Once I put it on paper and I can visually see it, I can start tweaking it to make it a little bit more special. What I'm trying to achieve with this design is I'm trying to eliminate the idea of the center stone as a center part. I don't want to have it any bigger than what it's supposed to be. I want it to look like it's almost floating. If you're turning the design to the side, it also isn't just a straightforward wall. I felt needing to come in slightly so that we've got a thinner appearance on the back. There's different ways of approaching this, and if you've got another way, that's cool. You can let me know in the comments. By doing the design, I realized exactly how high I needed to make the actual the pendant from top to bottom, and I could go back to those design points and see exactly, because I've marked out how many millimeters I want to work on those millimeters, make sure I stay true to the design, and I know that the stone is going to be exactly where I want it, which is the point just above the point of touch on the skin. It's just shy into the actual pendant itself. I want to see only the stone from the top, so I'm creating a little tube which is exactly the same diameter as the stone, and I'm dropping those wires just ever so slightly into the actual tube itself. From here onwards, I know exactly where to go down. You hold it parallel and get your blade in order and cut light lines first, and then I use a file, a round file, or a little parallel phrase. Now I've created a little area where the wires will lie in. Before I had a laser machine, I would take slightly longer wires and balance both sides off the edges so that I have a balance, and then just tack it and then run the solder through to the top, which is the traditional way of doing it. However, now that we're working with lasers, you can hold this down, give it a slight tack, go to the top, give it a slight tack, and just fill the rest in with solder. So I can get really good accuracy. Make sure that you spend time on making sure those wires are absolutely straight, because you're not only going to be seeing the four claws at the top, the back of the pendant is also important. When you turn the pendant around and you're looking at it from the back, you need to make sure that there's nothing that draws their eye that's not perfectly in line. While the stone's not set, I have the opportunity to get a saw blade in there and cut towards the ends of the claw itself. There's no practical reason behind doing that. However, it does give a nice visual effect. It just features very nicely when you're looking at it. It's that a little extra thought that goes into the design that really shows people that you're not just rushing it through the workshop. You're doing something a little extra to make this piece unique just for them. I'm now going to move over to the horseshoe side of things. Now, I might have some comments about this in the comment section. There are different ways of doing this, and obviously on this channel we try and show different ways, so I might make this a different way, but I'll tell you what I've done this particular time. The stones themselves are my gauge on how wide I want the walls to be. I know how thick I need them to be because I've worked it out on the design, and I know what gap I want to be able to reach the height of the stone so that everything works out exactly. Now, if the diamond is 2.4 millimeters, for instance, I'm not going to make them 2.4 millimeters. I'm going to go slightly bigger. We're still going to work them off slightly, and I want those stones to be exactly the same size as the wall thickness going around. So if it's a 2.4 millimeters, by example, I would make it 2.6 millimeters. Create the piece and then work it off so that when I put my stones into the actual thing, that it ends up on my 2.4 that I'm looking for. Now the horseshoe does this thing where it's round at the bottom, but it's not straight at the top. So before I'm actually doing the main turn at the bottom, I'm going to look at that slight curve that I have at the top. I'm putting it on a bangle triplet and I'm hammering it to get it into its basic shape. So when I'm dealing with the parts that I've cut off, I only have to think about the small little turn at the bottom because the other parts have already been bent. So I'm shaping the top part and then I'm going to mirror the bottom part. Now again, here, the logical conclusion, and I'm going to get this in the comments I'm sure, is to use plate. And I'm not going to argue with you. I like the wind in my hair. Let's put it that way. It sounds weird.
We do what we do to get our kicks down.
So I started bending these around. I obviously need them to match. So I'm continuously checking that they're matching. I clean the two insides off so that I've got some sort of clean area. I stick them together with super glue, and then once I've done that, I've basically got one little item to work with. If I'm filing it now, I'm going to be filing both of them at the same time. So if there's any inconsistency with the one side or the other side, it will correct itself and they'll both be exactly the same. Now I've got one part over here that I want to add some wires. Now the wires are going to be part of my gallery. I want these wires to run the entire length from the top, on the top one from this side to that side, and I'm going to space them out in such a way that I've got an equal spacing going all the way around. Symmetry in these cases are very important. This is building the structure of the piece. We haven't gotten to making it pretty yet. We're putting these little wires on. Again, I'm going to the laser welder for this, just to tack them on, only because it's here and it makes life very simple. But typically you would just solder these on. Make sure your spacing is correct, and I put two wires to start off with, and then I start moving around down to the bottom. So I've tacked the wires. Once they've been tacked, I then go to the soldering process. I'm still a traditional jeweler. I still like to make doubly sure that everything is as tight as it possibly can. And from there onwards, I then bring the other part together, and I've already worked them all off. So all I need to do is balance, make sure that they're on top of each other, and go back to the laser and just tack them again. So we bring those two parts together. We have one part where the stones are going to go in. We've got the separation, the gallery, where we've added the wires, and then we've got the back plate over there. We're starting to look at this pendant as a pendant now. It's becoming something. We want to give it our flair. We're not going to keep this pendant straight. I felt that it needed to have a bit of movement. At the back plate's where I'm focusing right now. I'm cleaning this up, and then the inside of the back plate, not the outer diameter, the inside diameter, I'm using a little divider and I'm marking how much of a wall or a plate I want at the back there. Once I've done this, by respecting the top part, this is the bottom part, this is the top part, by respecting this corner over here and not touching it, because remember we made it to fit exactly the size stones that I wanted to set in there. So we're going to leave the top completely alone, and just ever so slightly underneath it I'm going to file in towards that line at the bottom, thus creating a little sort of a curvature all the way around for the pendant, which means that it's not just a front view. You can take this off and put it down and admire it from the side and from the back as well. You get to create these little things almost with your own signature, if I can put it that way. And obviously when we're filing, we want to keep turning it to make sure that that curvature is all the way consistent. Now we've got a shape, we've got a U shape. We need to start looking in the inside. I need to clean that up, and I need to clean it up because I can't clean it up once I've put my center stone in. So I pre-polish the inside. Don't worry about anything else, just the inside. And I'm now going to drop that center setting into it, again with some very
useful laser technology.
Some very useful laser technology. You might have seen me mentioning that it's become something in a workshop. Technology. We traditional people, we work with our hands, we work with fire, we work with elements. Laser coming into the workshop has certainly, especially for manufacturing, is definitely something that we've incorporated in most of our manufacturing, and this is exactly what I've done now. So I'm setting it up. I've got the U shape now, I've got my center setting. We're just about ready to go. On my design I had two little rings on the sides, which is typically where I would have gone. Once the customers saw the design, they said to me they loved it, but they'd like the chain to run through. Because of the gallery, I've created the gallery for the right size for the chain to run through there. So typically there's nothing more that I need to do to this other than clean it up and set it. And setting it is exactly what I've done next. I'm very happy with the pendant. What do you think? What would you have done differently? Thank you very much for watching the video as per usual to the end. We'll be back next week. We will be back next week because this has become a part of our life now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
There might be certain things that we spoke about in this video, but we didn't go and elaborate about it. We have taken some of the videos that we've made on these subjects and linked them in the description. So you're more than welcome to go down there into the comments. Is it in the comments or the description?
In the description, and just check it out because I'll put some links there, guys, because there's, for instance, like prong setting and things like that. Certain techniques are linked to the laser welding interview.
You need a camera on you as well.
I know. No.
Please like, subscribe, bell icon. We are on Instagram under Jaco the Jeweler. We will see you next week. We will see you next week, and we will see you the week after that, and possibly the week after that. You're stuck with us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being there for the long run. Bye. Bye for now. Bye for now. Bye for now.
Okay.